Rail is a commercial enterprise. It'll be downside more commercial going forward as well, because we're going to get this going as a sound business, going flat out serving this country. It is the smartest alternative. The revenue it earns, like every other business, goes back into this bottom pay line for its staff, its bills, and invests in the future. That revenue is not available for worthy public causes like this one. So that's where we in the government have come in. We provide a small amount of funding each year to rail for public good purposes. And that funding pays for important items like rail safety week, the modest annual campaign to lift awareness of safety, and it subsidises heritage rail operators to access the rail network so that we, the public, can enjoy steam locomotives and historic carriages right here on our network. Now, we wrote to Rail's new chair, Sir Tindall, now that was given to advice before by the previous speaker, asking for them to up the contribution from $125,000 to $500,000 per year. This type of funding that makes a real difference is now going to be available, multiplied by the volunteer labourers and donors who chip in to make it all work. It's an amazing society, you know. We've got so many people who are volunteers who work round the clock to help their citizens, and if they were to stop tomorrow, the whole country would collapse, just like that. So they're the contributors, and then you've got another type who think that they're entitled to all the taxpayers' largesse, whether they have worked for them or not. And delighted to see that you've got so many volunteers down here, and I can see you getting a painting group together. Give them a good test for a start, make sure they can paint properly. Truly. Make them practice over there before they start on this building, and then set them going. So take one look at it. That is unique architecture. But here's the point, when it was first built, it was built by a man called Vogel who did know what he was talking about, and did have an idea, and in the space of 10 years, in the 1870s and the 1880s, he built more railways in 10 years than the next 130 years. And he had a horse and cart, didn't have any bulldozers and any tractors. No, just horse and cart and that's it. He built more in 10 years than for the next 130 years. So, what's the message? Well, we've got to get our mojo back. Oh, by the way, it's been my thesis that people who live in cold climates can make better decisions. Well, it's true. You're in Norway, you're in Iceland, you make a decision in the cold and you made a wrong one, you die. It's not like out in the sunny banana republic. So the further south you go, people tend to think more clearly. But that's just a thesis I've had for a long time. This nation was built on rail, enabling extensive development of industries that turned us into leading export nations. And we can do it all again, but that's for a different speech. Maybe next year when we're campaigning. And by the way, when we're down here campaigning, don't be fast on the lip and slow on the hip, eh? Better get serious next year because it's a big election. Now the station was designed by George Troop, as you were told, in the railway architect and later the Mayor of Wellington. And the station is stopped at the New Zealand map and is a particularly special example. I think it's going to look fantastic, by the way, when it's completed. I'm pleased to stick to the same site because that's the only realistic thing to do. I can't imagine what on earth happened to the concrete or what happened there or over there, but it's quite a sight to look over there and see 5 railway tracks. This station has sat derelict on Main Street for far, far, far too long. Unlike others who believe heritage buildings and structures should be left in the past, we understand their importance to communities, to our national identity and to our future. When it was first built, it was built by a man called Vogel who did know what he was talking about and did have an idea, and in the space of 10 years, in the 1870s and the 1880s, he built more railways in 10 years than the next 130 years. And he had a horse and cart, didn't have any bulldozers and any tractors. No, just horse and cart and that's it. So what's the message? Well, we've got to get our mojo back. We hope the council might come to the party with some funding also. Thanks for missing me.
So this is one of very few of this type of train station in the country, and also, as the Minister said, there's a lot of really good architecture here. So it's important to retain that so that we can protect our heritage and remember where we came from. Like the funding package that was announced today isn't going to do the whole project, and that is where the fundraising
Kiwi Rail says it remains open to gifting or leasing the Matarau railway station, but there's been no interest. The 103-year-old heritage-listed building was described as being in desperate need of urgent repair in a 2002 feasibility report. Kiwi Rail says it's planning to remove the roof and remove or replace the 2 chimneys, but that work is subject to funding, which is currently under review. Gore District Mayor Ben Bell said it was not a particularly good look to have the building in a state of disrepair in Matilda's main street, and it encouraged antisocial behaviour. In 2002, Kiwi Rail offered to sell the building to the council for $1 as long as it moved it to a new location, but the deal lapsed. Rachel Kelly, The Southland Times.